It's time we had a serious conversation about football.
The biggest con and scam in the UK right now.
And you know this.
I know it for a fact. I have to be really careful with what I say, but
It's disgusting. How do we change it?
football fans across the country are rightly furious with the outgoings and incomings of information regarding football ticket prices. Football is losing its identity, to me, to you, to everyone, not only on the field, but off the field. And it feels like collectively teams in the Premier League and even in the lower leagues are coming together and uniting to protest about these ticket prices. It's not a working class man sport anymore.
No, not at £100 a ticket for United games, not at £800 for cup final games. Like, the ticket touts they're breeding like, and it's almost like the clubs themselves are encouraging it.
Well, they are, and I have to be really careful with what I say, but I know for a fact that the clubs encourage it. I know that there are things that go on in football clubs where touts are direct beneficiaries of leftover tickets, which isn't okay.
And you know this.
I know it for a fact. I won't go. I shouldn't go into it in much more detail, other than the fact that at certain clubs, if there are unsold hospitality tickets or unsold general admission tickets, there are a proportion of them that go to known people that sell them for a profit so that the clubs still make money. That's a fact. Take individual touts out of it. Football clubs themselves are the biggest touts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
End of. They constantly talk about the crackdown and the fight against these organisations. You see it. Saw an article in the Liverpool Echo about finding an office space that was rented that had 80 computers set up purely for the farming of tickets, when themselves, the club, are culpable for just as bad things.
Well, overselling a product for a price that just is never worth it. A football game is not worth £100.
Forget the £100, and I'll get on to that because that is a serious issue, and I'm really glad you brought up Man United being around about £100. Hospitality packages being labelled as a package to deter from the fact that it is £800 to £2,000 for a football ticket for a match is the biggest con and scam in the UK right now.
It's a great point. I didn't even think about that, but I look at United hospitality packages. If you try and get a ticket for Manchester United versus Liverpool in a week or so's time, the only tickets that are available are £399, £499, £599 as a minimum. And what they actually include, it's like Victoria Warehouse. So you have an off-site bar, which I have bought a ticket from that accidentally, by the way, once, and I never went to the hospitality. I didn't even go.
Yeah.
But I bought a ticket because it was the last ticket left. And it was a bar that was off-site from Old Trafford that you had to go to for a free drink, and then you got your match ticket. What you're doing is you're buying a match ticket for £500.
Correct. And because they list such incredibly basic things on the information to do with those tickets, like lounge open, as a bullet point, lounge opens 3 hours prior to the match. You get a programme, a £5. You get a free welcome drink. You might get a 2-course meal that might be street food. What's that? 20 quid?
These meals, these pre-match meals, like the 2-course meals, are chips and a burger sometimes.
Yeah.
There's something that you would buy at the kiosk inside the ground.
For 8 quid. And the pints tend to be pre-poured and just on a bar. So the waitresses or the servers, the bartenders, are turning round and handing you a pre-poured pint. That's your welcome drink, or a little glass of cheap Carver or whatever. You might get to in the Liverpool Stadium. You might get to meet a former legend, but I can tell you right now, even if Steven Gerrard gave me a kiss, it wouldn't be worth 800 quid.
No,
you know. So that's a huge issue. That's hospitality in general is an absolute joke, and the club are touts. Tomorrow against Crystal Palace, the Spirit of Shankly, Spy on Cop, and a load of other supporters groups for Liverpool have come together to say enough is enough. and they are printing and paying for, using their own money, 75,000 flyers that are yellow cards to be shown on the 13th minute of the game against Crystal Palace. Now, it's all too easy when anything is to do with Liverpool or Manchester United or these big clubs that have lots of rival fans to discount it and disregard it and say, unlucky for them. But this isn't just Liverpool or Man United. You've got West Ham that have got rid of concession prices. You've got Everton season tickets, people being moved from their season ticket seat because they've been able to get more money than they were paying. There's so many instances around the UK at the moment where the board and the owners are losing touch with what makes a football club, and that's its fans. So these yellow cards are going out. It's a silent protest in a sense, because what big clubs worry about is it affecting on the pitch activities, the game itself. You don't want to hinder your team because you've got such a passion and a love for it. And so I think it's a really good campaign. Tried no pound in the ground against Fulham.
How did that work out? I thought that was a great idea.
And it worked for the majority. But unfortunately, there are still a number, and a huge number, of fans at these big clubs, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, even Spurs, where there are so many out-of-towners or tourists that care more about their matchday experience than they do about the progression or regression of the football club.
To give people context to Not a Pound in the Ground, it was a movement that was started by Liverpool fans where, yes, you've got your match ticket, you don't want to protest to affect the team by not being there or not turning up. So you went to the ground, but you didn't buy anything inside there. And these clubs rely heavily on you spending money, overpriced beers, overpriced hot dogs inside the ground. That's where they generate most of their revenue. You think a match ticket might be £40 for Liverpool. Well, during that time, if you go with your 2 kids or 3 kids, each person is probably spending about £10 to £15 as a minimum.
And they've already got their money from the tickets. The majority of their ticket money is already in the bank, because it will be a large number of season ticket holders and 13 plus members that have already prepaid for their ticket well in advance. So along with the maybe 1,000 to 1,500 tickets that go on general sale, which is, 10 grand, something like that,
yeah,
if at those prices, their majority, like you said, of their match day revenue comes from selling things in the ground. So it did work, and there were loads of photos on Twitter of kiosks being completely empty an hour before kickoff, 10 minutes before kickoff at halftime. But inevitably, there will be people that don't get the memo because they're not maybe a diehard or active in the spaces of these communities and supporters boards. And just a note on that. If you are a fan of one of these clubs that is actively campaigning to make match-going supporters or make a match-going supporters experience better or cheaper than where it's heading, and you don't support that, then you just do not care about the club as a whole.
Do you think there's onus on any fan going to a football game to be in touch with the core supporters groups to understand what's happening before the game? Because I'll be honest, when I go to United games, I'm not in those hubs. I'm not listening to like supporters groups. And I had a chat with a guy, a season ticket holder next to me a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of the things that he was saying were things that maybe I hadn't heard of. Now, most of the games that I go to at United, I'm sat next to someone who isn't a season ticket holder or is a group of people. Like last week, I was sat next to like 4 German guys. Not a problem with that, but they aren't going to tell me the stories. They aren't going to let me know. It's really difficult for the average match day going fan, even if you do go sort of 20 times a season, to know exactly what's going on.
Yes, but my argument to that would be, if there was a campaign as big as this, say there was a protest, I think back to the United-Liverpool protest where the game got abandoned, you'd know that was going to happen. You'd know that there was a march. You would know, even if you're not following some of the big United supporters groups or representatives within the club, somewhere, somehow, you would know about that.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, if you're anyone that really cares about the club, by just chance, either on Twitter or Facebook or in the news, you will see something. These guys put so much effort into plastering as many flyers, information, websites, tweets, TikToks as they can to expose this and spread awareness. I find it really difficult to say, in this particular instance, if you have not seen this, should you really be going to the match and taking a ticket off someone that does know about it and is passionate about it? Because those are the people that don't, the people that don't know about it won't care that the prices are going up by 13%, 3 years in a row, season tickets going above £1,000. They won't care because they're there for their day out. So this is where it becomes frustrating, is that you just because it doesn't affect you shouldn't mean that you shouldn't support the people that do care about it. I've got a 10-year-old lad. He loves coming to Anfield with me. He's got his own membership that's fully loaded that I sort and pay for. When he turns 18, on this trajectory, there is a very big chance that he's priced out of going to football if it carries on this way. So the reason that people are moaning over a small increase and getting so fired up and really want to stick it to these owners is not necessarily about the now, because £1.34 a year isn't a lot of money. It's about what it represents and where it's heading. And we already know, which is going back to your point about Man United, is that your owners aren't in your favourite list of people of all time. And the reasons are because they got rid of child prices. They've moved people in their season tickets. They've asked £500 for people to bump them up on the season ticket waiting list and never given them season tickets. You're looking at £97 as a Category B game at Old Trafford. That is not a working class man's ticket price.
My seat for the Liverpool game next week is right up in the gods. Right up in the gods. And for any other game, you'd almost be like, I'm not bothered about this. I think it cost me over £100.
It's not right, mate. It's not right. I went to the Champions League final in Paris in 2022 and my ticket was £105. That's a Champions League final in a foreign country. You're paying that for a domestic league match, albeit a decent match to watch. That shouldn't be your standard. That shouldn't be your
Category A
average.
games, Category B games. I understand pricings because you're going to get more demand and, you can monetize people who are more likely wanting to go, and the season ticket holders will pay the fixed price anyway. But it does feel very much like, unless you hold a season ticket at these clubs, you are treated almost like you're a
cash cow.
Yeah, you're a consumer. You're not a fan.
Yeah.
And if anyone thinks that, poor Man United fans, poor Liverpool fans, do you know how hard it is to get a season ticket at these clubs? Well, it's damn near impossible.
It is impossible at Liverpool. You now no longer can get one. The season ticket waiting has been closed for 20 years. The waiting list has been closed for 20 years. You can't get a season ticket. Absolutely. So you have to either grind to build up your credits like me and a load of other people have, so you are guaranteed a ticket. But even then, it's very, very clear that with the new proposed ticket changes and the goalposts that keep moving with what criteria you need, is that they simply do not want loyal fans there anymore. And it cannot happen. It has to stop. Whether you're a fan of a Big Six club or a lower table Premier League team or even a lower league team, you look at your Wrexhams, you look at your Birminghams. If they get to the big time, that's where it'll go. So it doesn't stop at the Premier League. The American ownership and the NFL style super leagues and things that were proposed, that was the start of it, and it will extrapolate and will grow exponentially into just being consumers. Football without fans is quite literally nothing.
There's no revenue, so the money goes. When the fans go, the money goes. And you think about why Premier League football is sold as the best product. It's because the fans are the most passionate. There is a different atmosphere at a Premier League game compared to La Liga. Bundesliga's probably up there. Serie A. I watch Serie A plenty of times, and the amount of times I watch the fans, half of them aren't even watching the game.
They don't.
The ultras don't watch the game. They're just chanting the whole game. Whereas in the Premier League, the reason why it's such a fast-paced, intense league is because the fans are on you. They're right at the front of the pitch. They're on you. There's no fences, no gates separating you from the pitch, so you feel immersed in the experience.
And the away fans, it's all open and exposed. You're there.
People actually travel away as well. I mean, you look at La Liga. How many away fans do you get per game? 100. Barely any.
There was an entire story of a guy that went to an away game and then the game got called off, so he got to fly on the plane on the way home with all the players.
Betis?
Something like that. Imagine you couldn't do that. The example I'll give, and I'm not a Scouser, you're not from Manchester, but we're match-going fans that are extremely passionate about our club. Yeah, you lose that core of Scousers and Mancunians that do go week in, week out. They're season ticket holders, 13 plus members. They take their family, their friends. You lose those, and we know that the atmosphere will die. So it's all well and good getting your extra 50 quid, 100 quid per ticket and getting them to spend all that money in the club shop and in the ground. But you look at a Liverpool FA Cup third round tie against Accrington Stanley or Barnsley, the atmosphere is absolutely dead. And that is because the ticket prices are high for what it is. The clubs make it easy to move your ticket on. So you say, well, I'll miss this one. That's a different story. But the atmosphere is dead because it's not the die-hard core group of fans that know all the chants, raise the atmosphere, lift the players. They're people that are there for a spectacle. That is what these big Premier League grounds will become if they only get out-of-towners and tourists in those clubs, in those stadiums.
I look at Chelsea and what's going on with Chelsea and their finances and Todd Bowley. I think there's a very, very good case that the Premier League has to look at American ownership because it's not the first. We've had the Glazers. They should have learnt from the Glazers because Chelsea came in with a very radical model that wasn't being utilised in any other aspect of sport. I've not seen another club do it. No. It was an ownership that fundamentally didn't understand football in England. I think there's like fit and proper tests for these owners. I don't think they're being successfully run. I don't think these checks and balances are being run correctly before someone buys a club.
No, because all the people that do end up passing these fit and proper tests have got such a huge amount of money that they can either shoot me down, pay their way through it, or the boards that look at these things and the independent panels say, well, they've got 7 billion in the bank. They're never going to run it wrong. They take the financial side of it rather than the actual emotional side of it. You look at Tom Brady. He hasn't got a fucking clue about football. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have grown into it and have bought into it.
But they bought into the city. They bought into the fans. They connected themselves with the club. This is where they are different.
Yeah.
And when we paint every American owner with the same brush, you have to allow for certain people who do it the right way. And it does feel like they've done it the right way from an outside point of view.
Yeah.
Wrexham, let's be honest, great club, loads of history with Wrexham, sort of 70s and whatever. However, it was a nothing club in terms of the grand scheme of things. When they've come in, they've turned not just that place, they're worldwide. They're the most supported club in America, in the United States. The club is now thriving, actually has money, and it looks like they could compete to maybe go into the Premier League. Yeah. They did it the right way because they immersed themselves with the fans and with the culture of the club. I don't feel like any American owner, particularly someone like Todd Bowley, particularly someone like the Glazers, have ever tried to understand what it means to Chelsea fans, what it means to United fans, local fans, people who've supported the club all their lives.
The thing that cements that viewpoint for me is the Super League. And all, from what I can remember, all of the English teams, bar maybe Man City actually, were American owned, because you have to think draft type seasons with rosters and no promotion, no relegation is all they've ever known.
It's a model that only works in their country. Yeah. What's hilarious about that is Americans fully believe that their sports are world renowned. They think that the Super Bowl is the biggest event in the world. They don't see anything outside of America. No. They have no idea what football is to the whole world. And I'm talking every single place on earth has a football team.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It is the biggest sport in the world. And they don't understand that. So the culture of football means nothing to them. So coming in and ripping that up, it means nothing to them. The reason why football grew as a sport is because it's the best sport in the world. It grew because of the fundamentals of football. Fans, people who actually support the team.
Yeah.
I listen to American fans of certain teams. Oh, I support this team and I support this team. I support this team, but for this team, I support... They've got 9 sports going on. Every different region of the country, they're supporting a different team. They've got a jersey on one week and another jersey on the next week. It's like, do you even do they even understand the fundamentals of sport?
No.
I don't think they do.
They don't, because it's very regular for them to change NFL teams based on where they live.
Moving a team to a different part of the country.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Let's move Liverpool to London.
Well, if they had it their way, that's exactly what they'd do. And I have given FSG a lot of praise, and I think they deserve a lot of praise for the infrastructure of the club, how it's ran on a financial basis outside of match days. The commercial side of things at the moment, we're quite literally changing the game. They're changing the game with the commercial side of it. The advertisements and the brand deals are so solid and lucrative. Plus on the pitch, we've had a brilliant 10 years where they constantly let themselves down. When it was the Super League, when it was the previous ticket prices, having to apologise for these things and still going for it, is they've got people in high places like your Billy Hogans that sent out that email that was a nothing email telling us why they were doing it, not explaining what it means. They've now been... It's public that they've said that it is a small minority of Liverpool fans that feel this way. That's how out of touch they are. They haven't got a clue.
Well, in defence of that statement, not defence of them, it probably is.
Well, if you're taking it so literally,
because you look at a global fan base of a team like Liverpool, it reaches all around the world. I would say 5% of that fan base probably know the implications of changes in ticket prices. Mm-hmm. So when they say that it is a small percentage, it probably is.
It is,
but it's the most important part,
and it's the context of it. It's so easy to say, right, well, on a global scale, then it's a very small number of Liverpool fans that care about it. Contextually, like exactly as you said, it is the most important portion of the global fan base that have these feelings.
What is it about the Bundesliga and German teams that do it better than us? Is it because their federation, the Bundesliga, the German FA, are more switched on to how football affects fans than the Premier League are?
I think it's individual. I always remember the statement from the Bayern Munich, I can't remember his name, the chairman, and he said...
Oliver Kahn isn't he?
Yeah, no,
it's a
different name, yeah. It was years ago, and he said, we charge €385 for a season ticket. We could charge £1,000 or €1,000, but then it takes away everything that football is about. And to us, an extra €700 per fan is absolutely nothing in comparison to what it would be to them. And that is the difference. There is no sympathy or relation with a billionaire and a 30 grand a year job. They don't get it. Simply don't get it.
I've worked with multi-millionaires, like people with like fuck you money.
Yeah.
They did not understand why someone who I was managing at the time needed an expense for taking a bus. They could not, in their head, rationalise why they would need... There's a bus ticket and it was £10 to get to a different place that they'd switched them to. They could not understand why you need that £10. We'll just pay it. It's not as easy as that. We'll just sell more. Oh, then we live in different worlds.
Yeah, that's a big
and if
problem.
you think... I'm not one of those who's like eat the rich type people. I'm definitely not. I think everyone should be given the right to go and earn as much money as you can. And I believe in capitalism. Yeah. However, when you do speak to the people who have got like fuck you money and you see it, it's disgusting. Mm-hmm. And like... when we say they don't relate to people, they literally cannot understand it. There's a part of their brain that switches off past a certain amount of money that they don't understand the normal person.
£7, or call it tenner for a hot dog and a pint. That £10, before I finished this conversation, they would have earned 4, 5, 10, 20-fold. That's it. That £10 to them. I've been into a petrol station recently and had to put £7.80 in my car because I didn't have the full tenner. That's how much £10 can affect your average Joe, with how the world is at the moment. So an extra £1.42 per year for 3 years equates to 3, 4, 5 quid. Over a course of a season, that's then 100 quid, plus your match day stuff. So the reason they can't relate to it is because even when you accumulate it all, that £100, £150, £200 a year more is absolutely, it's not even pocket change. That's down the back of the sofa. That's, I don't even know if I've lost £100 today.
That's, I wouldn't stop if it dropped out of my pocket.
Correct.
How do we change it?
Protests and football unity. We had it with the Super League where the entirety of the fan bases, or certainly passionate and match-going members of fan bases, regardless of rivalry, join together. And Liverpool have got a massive sign that says stop exploiting loyalty. It has been held over the home and away ends of multiple clubs already. It will continue to do that. I'd be absolutely astounded and shocked if when we play United at Old Trafford next week, they don't join in unison, because regardless of the rivalry, some things are bigger than football. So you need to come together. Stop with the attitude of, it's Liverpool. Oh, woe is me, it's Liverpool. Because if you don't come together and combat it at the source and hit it, strike it whilst the iron's hot, it will carry on and it will end up affecting you. There is no doubt in my mind. Football is going in a direction where everything is commercialism and consumerism, and the average fan is being priced out or just phased out. They don't want you there. Stop it. Because when you have children, if they want to go and follow their team, they won't be able to. They won't be able to afford it. They won't be able to get a ticket because it won't be accessible for them, because it will be accessible for the tourists. You make your protests heard in a way that doesn't affect the football teams that are actually playing, and you hit them where it hurts, and that is their pockets.
And just to finish quickly on the Super League thing, it was a big fuss about that Super League coming out. The reason why it got so much attention is because Sky knew that would massively affect them financially. So they couldn't wait to put Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher at the forefront and get them taking, I think, an hour long in Monday Night Football. They had an emergency meeting.
Yeah. Took lumps out of the clubs.
It's purely because that was going to affect their revenue. It wasn't because of loyalty. It wasn't because they wanted to keep the integrity of the game. It was affecting revenue. So affecting revenue is the only way you affect these people.
Yeah.
And not a pound in the ground is absolutely spot on. And the protest plan for Palace hopefully, makes some movements. And every club, every supporter, I'm a United fan, you're a Liverpool fan, you have to see past your rivalries and you have to get together and do something about it. And whatever that is, it could be as little as not spending any money inside the ground. It could be saying something on social media.
There's on the Spirit of Shankly Twitter and their website, you can download the yellow card flyer and post it to your social media. You wouldn't believe that could make a difference, but it does, because it spreads awareness, and it may stop other people that wouldn't necessarily think about not spending any money in the ground. They might see that and go, I want to be a part of this because I believe in it. So you can do your bit. I do want to say a massive shout out to all the supporters boards that have got on with this, both at Liverpool and away from Liverpool, because they're the people that drive these movements, put their own money into doing it to make sure that every fan benefits from it. Spirit of Shankly, Spy on Cop, they've put really hard work into this, and it's brilliant. And for all the other supporters boards as well done, and keep it up.
Yep. Try and make a change. Be the difference you want to see in the world.
Rant over.
Yeah.
Enjoy the games, guys.
See you in the next video.
Don't forget, I love you.
Listen up, yeah, go voices run that shit.